Hey, this is Mr. MacDonald, and today we're talking about Napoleon ruling France. Napoleon Bonaparte was a military dictator, and he's going to seize control of the French Empire after the king's executed and after the end of the Reign of Terror with Maximilien Robespierre's death. So that would be Napoleon taking control of France. So when Napoleon took control in 1799, the French government was overtaken by the military. General Napoleon Bonaparte came and with a coup d'etat, or a blow of state in French, it's a sudden military takeover of the government. Napoleon became a military dictator in France. So let's take a look at some of the good things Napoleon did. First, Napoleon began a massive construction project. He built public high schools. He established a military-like system in France. And if you had proven skills, you could get high public office. And another thing is he did do something called the Napoleonic Code, and it was a set of laws. Some of the laws are still used today in France. Napoleon wasn't all good. He did some bad things too. He sought to start wars with all the neighboring countries of France and take them over and build a new French empire. He tried to attack England, but his navy was soundly defeated. Napoleon then announced the Continental System, which would be a total blockade of England. And he wanted to try and starve the British and stop the continent of Europe trading with England. This continental system did not work out. It was extremely costly and it was failed. Now, Napoleon had some big mistakes. One of his biggest mistakes after he took over most of Europe was trying to invade Russia. And Napoleon attacks Russia, and Russia is one of the it has the most land of any country in the world. I believe it's 11 or 12 time zones long. And the Russians also had cold weather on their side. Russia is extremely cold, and Napoleon's soldiers were not prepared for the harsh Russian winter. Napoleon's army would win victory after victory, and right before they would take over the towns, the Russians practiced a scorched earth policy, where the Russians, before they would retreat, they would burn the town to the ground, leaving Napoleon's soldiers no food and no supplies. Napoleon's Grand Army was able to conquer most of continental Europe. However, when he attacked Russia, his Grand Army went deeper and deeper into Russia, ended up freezing and starving to death, and his Grand Army of hundreds of thousands of men, by the time he got right outside Moscow, Napoleon's army had whittled away to just a few thousand men who were able to fight. Mostly, Napoleon's army then turned around in retreat. The Russians would chase after Napoleon. Napoleon then comes back to Europe and is imprisoned. He is exiled to an island called Elba, and then he is broken out of jail. He returns to France, raises an army again, and rules for 100 more days. And he is finally defeated by a combined European army at the Battle of Waterloo. And then they exile him permanently to the island of St. Helena, which was in the middle of the ocean, where he ends up dying.